So the other day I went over 10 things I wish I knew earlier in Spider-Man 2, and not only did you guys seem to love that video, but I've definitely found plenty more things that would have helped to know a little bit earlier on. And so today we're going to be going through 7 more things I wish I knew earlier in Spider-Man 2. Now, the first one is to do with your skill points, and this is that you really should be sort of saving those skill points from probably around the 10th or so mission until you get to the point in the game where you unlock the symbiote. Now, I'm not going to go into spoiler territory because obviously not all of you will have played it, but we all know that you are able to use the symbiote. It's been throughout all the gameplay and all the trailers and stuff leading up to the game. Without mentioning anything that happens in that section, what I will say is it is worth having a few skill points spare once you do get through that section. You can unlock some very, very cool skills, and because I had been spending all my skill points almost straight away trying to learn as much about the game as I could for the sake of these videos, unfortunately that resulted in me only having about 1 or 2 different skills left that were available to actually unlock because I only had 1 or 2 skill points when I got to that point. So if you aren't up to that point yet, you are, early on in the game, I would definitely say around maybe the 10th or so mission in the game, just start saving up those skill points, or even before you get further in, just do some side content, try and level up and save some of those skill points, because once you unlock that symbiote, you are definitely going to want to unlock a few of those skills that you can unlock through that section of the story. Now, the next one is actually pretty similar, to be honest, and this is to save some of your rare tech parts for the suit tech rather than getting every single suit as soon as you can. For me personally, as I was playing, I was pretty much just unlocking every single suit as I was getting to the level that they required, because obviously the suits in this game are absolutely amazing, and I was pretty much just trying to switch up between them as much as I possibly could. Now, although it is good to get all of the suits and everything, I would definitely say upgrading your suit tech and stuff is a lot more useful. However, for me, just like I said with the skill points, I'd pretty much spent all of my rare tech parts and the hero tokens and stuff on all of those suits. So I would definitely say prioritize your suit tech and even your skills and all that kind of thing, especially the gadgets too. I think the gadgets are pretty overlooked, but when it comes to those rare tech parts as well as the hero tokens, anything that you can unlock with those, you definitely want to be spending on the suit tech rather than the suits themselves. Now, something else I wish I knew a bit earlier is actually a setting, and this is the QTE or QuickTime Event autocomplete setting. Now, in the gameplay section, there is a way to make it so that the QuickTime events, for example, when you're doing those car chases and you need to press square at the right time, those will actually just be automated. Now, for any of you guys who like a challenge when you're playing a game, this might sound like it's cheating essentially, but they are obviously impossible to fail unless you have the reaction speed of a 90-year-old. And so this isn't really cheating. It's not really making the game any easier. It is just making it, I guess, more carefree in that you don't have to press those buttons, because like I said, it's impossible to fail those anyway. You may as well just make it automated. You only have to then press the button once. For example, in the car chases, you just press triangle. Once you've hooked onto the car, the rest of it just plays out. So that is something I wish I knew earlier. Not that it really makes the game any easier, it just makes it so that maybe you can put your controller down, grab a drink while that's happening. Essentially, it will just make your life a tiny little bit easier. Now, before we go any further, if you guys are new to the channel and you are interested in more Spider-Man 2 content, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are well on the way to 1K subscribers, and it would mean a hell of a lot if you guys can help us get there. So be sure to sub, be sure to turn on those notifications, because like I said, there is plenty more Spider-Man 2 content on the way. Now, something else I wish I knew a hell of a lot earlier is that using abilities will always interrupt enemy unblockable attacks, like for example, the yellow or the red warnings that you get from certain enemies. Now, with all of these, you can obviously parry them too, but on the spectacular difficulty, they can definitely be a little bit hard to time the parry at times. It's definitely not impossible. It's more when you're getting swarmed by enemies and someone comes out of nowhere with one, it can be very hard to time those parries. And so something that I've found is that using your abilities will guarantee that their attacks are interrupted. I didn't notice this straight away, as I actually thought it was only the white warnings. I thought the ones that were yellow and red were literally just unblockable, but no, doesn't matter whether they're yellow or red. If you actually use any of your abilities on that enemy, it will completely cancel that out. And realistically, it is just as good as parrying. So be sure to keep that in mind as pretty much an alternative if you can't time those parries well. Now, the next one is actually another setting, and this is the continuous dodge setting in the control settings. Now, this makes it so that if you hold circle, you will just continuously dodge, which can be really helpful if you are fighting heaps of enemies. And even with this setting on, if you do just tap circle like you normally would to do a dodge, it still just dodges like normal. So it's got pretty much no negative effect to it. And this, like I said, really helps when it comes to fighting heaps of enemies. I found it to be really good when you are low on health and you're pretty much just trying to get out of a bit of a pickle. If you just hold circle, it makes you essentially immune to taking damage unless you get very unlucky with some timing. And it can just give you that little bit of extra time to sort of think your way out of a situation, while, like I said, not actually changing the original setting, because if you just tap circle like you normally would, that still works anyway. Now, something else that I wish I knew earlier is that the concussion burst gadget actually has an upgrade called Lure. And this is really solid for stealth missions. Now, what this does is it allows the concussion burst to be pretty much used as a distraction when you are in stealth combat, making those stealth missions a hell of a lot easier when you need to sort of split up enemies and take them out one by one. Obviously, in certain situations, you can just shoot your web at certain things around the environment and it will distract an enemy. However, some areas in the game do not have those things to distract them, and it can make it very difficult to stay in stealth mode. So using this, it pretty much acts as another distraction. It is really helpful, and I actually wish I had this earlier on in the game, because there's actually a lot of stealth missions early that I really would have loved to have this, and unfortunately I didn't know about it at all. So if you do enjoy your stealth gameplay, be sure to get this upgrade for the concussion burst. You will definitely be thanking me later on. Now, last but definitely not least, this is actually another setting, and to be honest, this is more something that is just kind of cool. This is the comic SFX setting. Now, I think to unlock this, you need to be around level 21. I think it's when you get the initial Spider-Verse suit, which is the Noir suit. And this went completely unnoticed by me because I only noticed the other setting that comes with it, which is the film style animation. And to be honest, that one is pretty cool too, but it throws it in your face. So I'm sure you guys have all seen that. It pretty much makes your character kind of look like they've got the Spider-Verse animation where it's a lower frame rate and stuff like that. What I didn't notice though is that right next to that setting is the comic SFX setting. And what this does is it actually makes it so that when you KO an enemy, it will display that like comic book style sound effect where it says like kablam or kapow, for example, and it shows it in that typical comic book style. It looks so cool, and I definitely wish I knew this earlier on. I'll be completely honest, I probably would have had this on from the beginning of the game if I could have, although like I said, you only unlock this when you do get the first Spider-Verse suits. So if you haven't unlocked those yet, be sure to keep an eye out when you do get them. As I mentioned, I think it is around level 21 that you do unlock the Noir suit for Peter. But anyway, those are 7 more things that I wish I knew in Spider-Man 2. If there's anything else you guys can think of, be sure to let me know down in the comment section, because there is every chance I can always make another one of these videos. If you guys are new, like I said, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. We are going to be doing a setup tour at 1K subscribers. But with that being said, thank you all very much for watching. You guys have a great day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.